responsibility. So let's get started on that. So thanks again for joining today's session. So we are on the day 2 of the Jivan Vidya workshop. Uh, let me share my screen. Let me know when you're able to see my screen.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. All right. So yesterday, a quick recap, like 5 to 10 minutes. Let's recap on what we have seen yesterday. So we started by kind of looking into ourselves as to what we wish to be as individuals, as families, as society, and our relationship with nature. How we want, how we wish it is like, and then we'll try to look at what it is currently. And we found that there are like so many issues that we have in the current situation, and we try to look at like what could be the potential possible reason for this gap between what we are and what we want to be. And we looked at some possible ways how we can fill this gap. And we noticed that money or physical facilities can help to some extent, like for example fulfilling hunger, or providing some facilities for our body and needs, etc. But it cannot fully fulfill this gap from what we are to what we want to be. Also, similarly, we saw guidelines or rules and laws or constitution. These in a society can be of guidelines, can provide some guidance to some extent, but ultimately it's individuals who are living out these rules and laws and guidelines. So unless there is right understanding in the individuals, in every individual, we will be not be able to achieve what we wish to be. So the proposal in front of you all was that right understanding in every individual is required, so that they are responsible as individuals, and then in their relationships it shows up it reflects in their behavior, a definite conduct in their behavior, whether it's in family or in at work or as part of society, and also in relationship with the nature. So we thought, what exactly is this right understanding, and what do we understand about. And for that we went into understanding the various levels at which we live. So we are living with ourselves, within ourselves, in our mind, in our thoughts, in our desires, in our expectations, etc. So I live with myself, I live with my body, my health, and whatever facilities this body needs, we are always arranging them. And then I live in my family, in my relationships with my family members, immediate relatives, or extended family, colleagues, etc. And then I live as a part of society. So I do work in society, I interact with society, I contribute to society, I take help from society. So I'm living as part of society, and then as part of nature and existence. So all the resources that we take from the nature, and also maybe give back some resources to the nature, etc. So we are living at all these levels, and if we have the right understanding of about these each of these dimensions of life, then we proposed that to all of you that the issues that we are facing will reduce. Like for example, if I have clarity in my thought, if I know if I have a vision what I need to do, or that understanding about myself, then issues like boredom, laziness, confusion, etc. will reduce, right? And similarly, if I have understanding about my body, how to take care of my body, then issues related to health will reduce, issues related to confusion about what to eat, etc. will reduce. Similarly, if I have a good understanding of relationships, then I know how to behave with people, I know how to fulfill my relationships, and hence there'll be then this disrespecting other and also being exploited or feeling disrespected, etc. will reduce. So we observed that having a right understanding at various levels is what is required for us to live to achieve what we wish to be. And we continued with a tool. So in this process of understanding these dimensions, we need something for ourselves. So because just because somebody says, or just because this workshop says, or just because some book says, or some person says, something may not be become true. Even though it is true, or even though it is reality, it's ultimately we who need to experience this reality. And for experiencing, or evaluating these proposals, we said there is a tool called self-verification process. Please use this. It is at your disposal. And what is the self-verification process saying? We take a proposal, we check whether it's naturally acceptable or not, and that's the first stage. Some of them may be filtered out at that stage itself. If it passes that, then when I live according to this proposal, I should see a kind of comfort in my behavior in relationships with others. That's, we are calling it as mutual comfort, mutual happiness. And when I'm living in with nature, it should result into mutual prosperity, not exploitation of nature. So if I'm seeing these, then there is an additional check also of universality, because reality is same for everybody. So universality helps check that. So the proposal should be independent of time, space, and individual. If all these criteria are getting met, then okay, this proposal becomes a part of my, I realize that okay, this proposal seems to be true, and I see it to be continuously true, not for a moment, for 1 day, 2 days, or many of the thoughts or assumptions that we have are at times valid for a few moments or some time, or few days. I change my assumptions again, I change my thought again, I change my philosophy, I change my beliefs. So all these keep changing, but what doesn't change from time to time, what doesn't change from space, space in the sense from location to location, what doesn't change from individual to individual, we are talking about that kind of knowledge, or understanding about that knowledge. So that is what will get filtered out of this, and it becomes part of us. Whatever is not filtered out of this, and gets filtered out, is we are basically dropping. So those could be our beliefs, current beliefs, which are unevaluated and we have accumulated them, or that could be conditioning, some kind of prejudices that we may have, or some kind of assumptions that we may have, or misconceptions that we may have, or lack of gaps in our understanding that we have. All those, we are trying to filter them out, and what comes out is what we can call as the reality, or truth, or right understanding that remains. So this we proposed as the process of self-verification. Now the next thing is the natural extension. Like we said, that we are in this workshop exploring the various levels of understanding, right? So I need to understand all these levels of my living. So let's start with understanding myself. So myself in the sense a human being. So first of all, in understanding a human being, um, let's do a small exercise, to understand, to start understanding about human beings. You all must have listed down the list of desires that we saw yesterday. Maybe like a few of them, one or two, each one of you, if you can write in the chat window. I'd like to take some of those examples, and let's do some small exercise to start with. So if you can I know it's not possible to type all the desires that you've written in these papers into this chat window, but let's take a few examples. Let's say 3 or 4 examples. So if each of you can type, then I'll pick some of them. Can you type your desires into respect? Okay. Be healthy. Healthy. I would like to lose 20 kgs. Okay, I'll call it healthy. And spend more quality time with family, my own house, loving partner. Okay. House and own, love, job, Where I would like my son to overcome his OCDs, let's say. Guidance, well-being. Okay, so love or relationships, good relationships. So I know there are many. We want recognition or respect or recognition. Get rid of bad habits. Yeah, no bad habits. Okay, let's take these examples to start with. I know there will be many. I mean, especially if you all accumulate. So one good thing is, like you all have mentioned, that it's not so easy to write these unlimited ones. So we think that there are many, but all of them seem to be kind of related to each other, or we can actually kind of club them into a few common, generic desires. That's what we can observe when we are writing this list of desires. So let's take about um, social contribution. Okay, let's take about each of these. So respect or recognition. So I'd like to put two main desires called happiness and prosperity and their continuity. So can we see that each of these, like for example, you already written happiness here, healthy. So why do we want to be healthy? If we like look at one level above, why do we want to be healthy? Can you please type in the chat window? So that we are comfortable and we are healthy, we can be active, we can get rid of pain. Ultimately, can we say it's again to be happy? So my home, my own house, so I need a feeling of prosperity within me, right? So if I have if I have a house, whether it's own house or not house, or rented house, we can discuss that later, but at least a house, I need it when to get a sense of prosperity. Similarly, love and relationships, we need these to be happy, right? Job, I need job so that I get some money, and using that money I have a sense of prosperity. Also, I'm happy to some extent, right? Guidance, so when I guide, I see my children to do well, and then when they are doing well, I have good relationships, and I have a sense of fulfillment, and hence I feel happy. So well-being is anyway directly about happiness, right? No bad habits, so that I feel good about myself. For example, there could be various reasons. I'm just talking aloud when I'm taking these examples, so that I don't have any bad habits, so I am doing the right things, and hence I have a sense of satisfaction about myself, and again that leads to happiness. Respect or recognition, so that I feel happy, right? So kind of everything that we call as a desire, the ultimate goal of all these desires is to achieve this um, happiness and prosperity, and in the continuity. Can we say this? Is this kind of analysis or acceptable to you all? Can you please type in the chat window if you can, if you think that every desire that we have, if we go one level above and above, why do we need this, why do we need this, why do we need this, like that, ultimately would everything lead to happiness and prosperity and their continuity, right? And not just for myself, but for everybody around me, for every human being, right? So can we say that? Okay, you're saying yes, I agree. Okay. Continuity. Okay, so continuity, because for example, we need respect. We didn't say whether we need respect today or whether we need respect tomorrow, or do we need respect all the time. Similarly, I want to be happy, but whether do we want to be happy today, tomorrow, or all the time? Similar, yeah, all these desires, like I want to be healthy just for 1 day, 2 days, or do I want to be healthy in a continuous basis? So this desire of being happy and prosperous is not for a moment or for a few moments, but I need kind of continuity of this, right? Is anybody do we want this happiness and prosperity only for some time, or do we want continuously? Can you please say it in the chat window? What is your desire? Do you want continuously this happiness and prosperity, or do you want it like for 1 hour or 2 hours or 1 day or 2 days, and not all the time? Okay, so healthy should be separated from happiness is what we are saying. So yeah, I mean, that's your happiness or peace of mind. So that's a good question. So we'll define. So I've said happiness, but happiness is a very generic term used by each one of us, and it has many meanings in everybody's mind. If I ask what is happiness, everybody will give a different answer. So for me, like for example, having good job is happiness. For somebody else, spending time with their partner is happiness. For somebody else, doing social work is happiness. For somebody else, something else. So we need to define what exactly is this happiness and prosperity all the time, whether it includes peace of mind, whether it includes satisfaction. We will see that, right? And health. So health is a characteristic, for example, of our body. But what are we doing with this body ultimately? So we are doing things through our body again to be happy only, right? What do we do? This health, what do we use this health for? So my body is healthy, right? And for it to be healthy, we need prosperity. Like food is prosperity, clothing is prosperity, shelter is prosperity, all the facilities, gadgets, and everything, that is prosperity. And body, what are we using? But we'll go into this more in detail when we talk about the next level. We have the 5 levels, right? Myself, my body, and family. But if as a brief mention, we can see like I have a body, I have a healthy body, but where am I putting it to use? I mean, what use am I putting it to? It ultimately is about, again, having that peace of mind, or having no issues about my body. I'm having good health of my body, so that I can do what I want to, what I want to be, right? So
Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, sir.
yeah.
Please explain slowly because we are discussing self. No, difficult to catch.
Okay, sure. Yeah, please stop me if any of the things that I've spoken so far is not clear.
Very speedily you are saying. Very
Okay.
difficult to catch for the new persons.
Okay, sure. I'll go slow. All right. Yeah, please. Okay, I will give a pause after this session. I mean, after this module, so you can ask me if you have any questions. Of course, we'll have more time in the evening to understand all these. And I mean, if you have any clarifications, you can take them. But what we are saying is that this is proposal number 2. First, we thought right understanding. We said that right understanding. Then we said we need right understanding at various levels. This is one of the proposals. So you can mark this as as a I don't know, number 2 or 3, whatever it is. So this is one of the important proposals that every human being. So if I can ask this question, is there any human being who doesn't want this happiness and prosperity and their continuity of it? At each one of us, there is something common between all of us, that is that we all want to be happy and prosperous and in continuity. And everything that we do, we have written yesterday also what we wish to be. If we summarize all those, it comes to the same thing, that I want to be and happy and prosperous and in continuity. So this we are calling as a basic human aspiration. So every human being um, wants to be happy and prosperity and and continuously. That is the proposal in front of you. Okay. So if you have any questions, we can take one. We'll go into defining happiness. I know the word happiness and prosperity are can be vague and can mean many things. So we'll go into the defining them. But at a basic level, do you agree that happiness and prosperity are required in continuity. And this, you can see, is like every one of you, is that your basic human aspiration or not? Yes, is this your basic aspiration, happiness and prosperity in continuity? Can you please respond in chat window? Yes. Okay. Yes. Looking for more yeses. Okay. Break for 2 minutes. Okay. Yeah, we'll see. It's not okay. 1.5 hours is too long, you think? Okay, fine. We'll consider that, sir. Okay, Arvind G. Yes, Girija. Yes. Okay. Sure. Okay. Thank you. So you all are saying that yes, this is the basic human aspiration of every human being, and for you specifically, happiness and prosperity and in continuity is what we all want as human beings. Now, let's try to define what exactly. I won't go into uh, we'll briefly only I will define, because we can spend a lot of time on happiness. So happiness, is it visible? So what is this happiness we are talking about? Let's try to kind of define this. The state or situation I am in, if there is harmony or synergy in it, then I like to be in that state. To be in this state of liking is happiness. So we are saying the state. So that what is going on within me, that is the state, and the situation is what is around me. So the state or situation that I am in, if there is harmony, so there are no conflicts, there are no um, um, discomforts or lack of synergy, chaos, or anything like that in that, then I like to continue to be in this state. So we don't want to invite unhappiness, right? So if I'm in a state of happiness, I just want to continue to be in that state of happiness. So to be in this state of liking, that state of harmony within me, and exhibiting that, seeing that harmony around me, is to be in this state of liking, and to continuously to continue to be in this state of liking is happiness. That's how happiness is being defined, as is proposed to be defined in this workshop. So it's a state within me. First of all, happiness is not about arranging things outside. Happiness is not about like um, you know ex- uh, materializing something, or it's a state within me, and the state within me is harmonious. So there is no conflict, there's no confusion, there is no disturbance, there is no confusion or anything in that state, and I wish to continue to be in that state. So to be in this state of liking is defined as happiness. Similarly, I'll mention about prosperity also. It is this look a little abstract, but just for the sake of completeness, I'm mentioning that. So we will, unless you have any question, we will move to the next one. So prosperity is the feeling of having or making available more than required physical facilities. So this is how prosperity is defined. Again, prosperity, important thing is a feeling. Prosperity is not about having assets, about being rich or having a lot of money. That's an important thing to note. Prosperity is, I mean, of course, I need facilities to get this feeling, but how much facilities do I need? I need physical facilities to the extent. I mean, we'll go into that defining how many physical facilities we need, but that feeling that I have enough physical facilities and I have more than what I need is the feeling of prosperity. This feeling can come at different points for different people, right? Yes, exactly. So like you said, this feeling of how much do I need to become this, get this feeling of prosperity will vary. Let's say whatever it is for you, right? So whatever it could be, you know, X amount for you, Y amount for somebody, or for somebody X could be zero, for somebody it could be some n number of facilities. It is different, it could be different for everybody, but for you to get this feeling of prosperity, you need more than what you have defined, right? So let's say, let's take an example. You define 10 crores, I need to, you know, feel prosperous. When you get 10 crores and 1 rupee, or little bit more than 10 crores, can you feel prosperous? So I feel prosperous when when I define, first of all, what I need as physical facilities, and then I have you know, those many physical facilities, or I can make available those many physical facilities, then I will get this feeling. The important thing is, this is a feeling within me. This is important because we keep accumulating so many facilities, but we don't even check whether we have this feeling or not. We often don't even look into ourselves. No, okay, I have accumulated so much, first of all, but do I really have this feeling of prosperity or not? Because this feeling of prosperity, if we don't have, we can never share with anybody. When do we share? When I feel I have more than what I need, then only I will share, right? If I feel that I have less than what I need, I will feel deprived. I will not feel prosperous. So to be even able to share with somebody, or to feel you know, comfortable that I have enough facilities, I need to have this feeling that I have whatever physical facilities I need. Now, how do I define what physical facilities I need? We'll come to that when we define in the next topic. Today only, in the later half of the session, we'll try to define, you know, look into that aspect of how to define what I need. But whatever it could be for each of you, when we have this, then we'll. So this is how happiness and prosperity are defined. So I want to be in a harmony within me, a synergy, a state of comfort within me, and I want to continue to be in that state. We are saying we want to continue because we don't go and invite unhappiness, right? If I know that, okay, I'm going, you know, we don't go and hit something or break our head or something to make ourselves unhappy. They may happen as part of various things that we are doing. We have troubles, we get into troubles and all that, but we don't uh, our wish is, given a chance, I want to continue in this state of comfort within me, uh, and to be in that state of comfort is defined as happiness. Peace, satisfaction, bliss, joy, we have to define again these terms to see whether they fit into this or not. But in general, like, if I am, what is peace or satisfaction? So it's a state of liking only, right? I am comfortable within me and I want to continue to be in that. Whether you call it peace, these are all different words, but what is important is what is the actual reality that these words are pointing to. Peace, all these are different, maybe different names for happiness itself. So that's why we need to define, you know, clearly what we are talking about. So, and yeah, and the more important thing is the basic human aspiration, which we said is to be happy and prosperous continuously. What is, and how do we achieve this aspiration? This is what we want. This is what we all want. How do we achieve what we want? we have spoken about that yesterday, right? So to have right understanding and to live and with right understanding at various dimensions of living, that is the program to achieve this basic human aspiration. So let me summarize this. So first thing is what. So what do we want? So that we have defined as happiness and prosperity, continuity of this. Second thing, how do we achieve these? So the proposal for this was that to have right understanding and live with this right understanding in various dimensions of our life. Like we said, myself, family, society, nature, or existence. So when I have the right understanding and when I live with it, this right understanding in various dimensions of life, then I will be able to be happy and prosperous and ensure the continuity of this. This is kind of summary of what we discussed yesterday. So we thought from where we are to where we want to be, if we need to go, we need right understanding, right? It's the same thing. I'm just summarizing that. We need right understanding, and we also discussed how right understanding about various dimensions of life helps us to be in harmony at each of these levels, and harmony at each of these levels is basically, that means wherever I am, the state within me, the situation is, whether I'm in a family situation, whether I'm in a society, whether I'm part of nature, whether I'm within myself, there is harmony within me at all these dimensions of living, then I am happy. So for that, I need the right understanding. So this is the how part. So what do I need? How do I achieve this? And the third we said was, in this process of gaining this right understanding, we said there is a tool called self verification process, the self verification tool which we discussed yesterday. That is to check whether, first thing is like to check if something is naturally acceptable to me or not, then when I live according to it, whether it leads to mutual happiness and mutual prosperity or not. So this tool is useful for building this right understanding. Now we will go into elaborating into each of these dimensions. Of course, this summary itself is about myself. So we have started understanding about myself, right? Understanding myself. This is so I have understood myself to the extent that what do I want? I have tried to look into. I want happiness and prosperity and continuity. And how do I achieve this is by having right understanding and living with that right understanding at various dimensions of life. And in this process, I have a tool to verify it myself so that I am the experience. I mean, it is in my experience. This right understanding needs to be my understanding. So for that, we have the self-verification tool. So in this process of understanding myself, okay, let me ask for a moment, like, are there any questions at this point till now so far? You can raise your hand or you can type in the chat windows.
Sir, can self-verification tool be used in any type of situations?
Yeah, I mean, why not? I mean, if you have an example, we can try applying it. But yes, so the self-verification tool is for every situation or any kind of proposal. Basically, we are checking whether that whatever situation we are there in, and whatever we are deciding to do, for example, or deciding a philosophy based on which we are responding, we are verifying that before we do that act in that situation. So yeah, we can use it in any situation that we are in.
Okay, sir.
Sir, Shatrundaji. Yes, sir.
Yeah, let me take an example which might help. Suppose when somebody in the family falls sick and we go to hospital, and doctor prescribes, give instruction, take this medicine, do this, this, this.
Yes.
I have no way of verifying the impact of those medicines because I'm not a medical professional. So how do we apply this self-verification process in that situation?
Right. So, yeah, I mean, so how do I apply whether to take a medicine or not? So whether we can apply it to the extent of whether like to take somebody's advice, or whether to decide for myself whether I have the ability to take care of my body. First of all, the first decision is whether to take the doctor's advice or not. That's the first part, right? So there, if we apply it, is taking advice from the doctor naturally acceptable to me or not, right? So if it is naturally acceptable, fine. And when I go live according to it, to have this trust on the doctor that that person is competent enough to take care of my health, is this going to be more comfortable for me? Or if I have this mistrust that this doctor is not going to take care of me, and maybe damage my body, whether this will work for me or not, in this relationship with this doctor, whether the feeling of trust is going to be comfortable for me, or the feeling of mistrust is going to be comfortable for me. First, that we can look into ourselves, right? If the feeling of mistrust or lack of trust is actually going to be uncomfortable for me, then it is failing, right? Like failing in the sense, trust is more acceptable to me than mistrust towards the doctor. So I have validated this used by using self-verification tool. First, the feeling towards the doctor, right? And then secondly, when I live according to this, so when I'm living by this, whether doctor is prescribing something, when I'm living according to it, is it leading to mutual prosperity? Like, for example, is the health of the body improving or not? I'm monitoring it. I'm taking care of I'm checking my body continuously, and validating, etc., right? So that's also another part of verification.
I think even before that, there is one stage which we go through. And based on my assessment of myself, I know that there is sickness in the family or in my body. And that is the state because I don't know how to deal with it. Hence I go. So there's a natural acceptance in me that I don't know, and somebody, doctors are supposed to know, and that acceptance that yes, seeking help will help is, I think, is the starting point of the self-verification here, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, sir. So first thing is, there are multiple things in this whole thing. First thing is, I want to be healthy. Is this ensure? I want to be healthy. This is the first check. Is this naturally acceptable to me? Yes. And then when I check it in relationships, yes, acceptable in work with nature also. Yes, my body wants to be happy, and I want to eat well and be healthy. So this is first thing we can validate through self-verification process, that I want to be healthy. Then of course we have to evaluate our own competence, whether am I competent to handle this sickness myself. If if I see that I'm not competent enough to handle this sickness myself, then obviously we have to seek help from somebody, right? So that's the second check, like to trust somebody. to trust someone is acceptable, or to mistrust someone is acceptable. So then if trust is what is acceptable to us, then that is what stays with us. The mistrust will has to go away. Then anything else, sir?
No, that is it. These two are the starting point, and then only we'll come in contact with the doctor, and then what you said will follow. Probably we'll also seek others' view on who is a good doctor, and there's an acceptance on those parameters also when we operate. So
true.
then we land up in doctor's chamber.
Sure. Yeah. So I mean, in this whole process, there is so many interactions going on. Not just trusting the doctor, we have to talk to people. And in this whole process of talking to people itself, what is my approach? I'm trying whether I'm just resisting based on some conditioning that I have. Like for example, I have a resistance or aversion towards some form of medicine, for example, and I have an unfounded belief or attraction towards some form of medicine. Now I have to evaluate all these, whether I respect all forms of medicine, whether I respect all types of people, whether all this will come into picture in this just one situation that we if we use our self-verification tool. And we get yes.
One more thing might come, and once we land up, whether I can afford it, and whether taking medicine and paying that cost will reduce pain, or cost is so much that it will cause even more pain. So I think that also is, as you say, there's so many factors, and if you look at carefully, we quickly do all that probably because we have taken already decision about certain things of which medicine plan and all that is already under our evaluated list. It's possible that may happen very quickly.
Yes,
I agree. There are so many things. It's not that simple, straightforward.
Right. So the important thing that you brought up here is that we already have so many things processed and kept in our our mind and in our assumptions and in our beliefs that we just overlook them and go very fast. But if we are like going step by step at every moment of our life, every decision that we are taking, I'm calling a friend. Now I'm calling this friend to for what purpose? If we ask ourselves, or I am doing this action, is this action for my health or not? Like that at every stage, if we break down, then the self-verification tool will make it easier. When I'm eating something, for example, when I'm in this state of sickness, I'm eating something. Is this eating something going to reduce the sickness or increase the sickness? So like that, at every stage, this verification has to be done. It's not a like we can't combine and just say that we can apply it for as a bulk thing. So it breaks down into finer things, and then that's easier to apply the self-verification. I mean, take us through the self-verification process. Right. Yeah. Thank you for that analysis and help, sir. Sunilji, you had a question.
So Sumanji, a basic question that we are now discussing all this under the the topic understanding myself. So is that the beginning of the 5 topics? So we are now going step by step. First we will talk about myself, and then the other 4 topics. Just that clarification.
Yes, you're right. Yes, we are going through to each of these dimensions, and we started with understanding myself. And in this step, we have looked at what I want. When in the process of understanding myself, first thing is what I want. We try to look at. We notice that happiness and prosperity is what I want, and continuity. How do I achieve this? Is we have put a proposal here that right understanding is required to live at various dimensions of life, and this is how I can achieve this happiness and prosperity. Is the proposal in front of you, right? And then next step we'll go into understanding myself. So yes, in response to your question, we are looking at understanding myself. So Mahendra Damaniji, but analyzing each and every action to this tool is not practically possible. well, let's not call it impossible, but yes, it is not easy. It's a tough process, and that's why we say that I mean, being aware of each and every moment of what is going on within me, what are the various decisions that I'm taking, what are the various analyses that I'm making, what are the various because otherwise we have already accumulated a lot of things in our life in when we as we are growing up, whether it is from parents or teachers or books or media or various places. We have already put them now. This is kind of unlearning process also in a way. We have to look at each one of those, otherwise what our whatever accumulation is there in the mind is already is the root cause of the issues, right? So this whole process of verification is to filter out that and only keep the right understanding part as the output of that. So for that, yes, each and every step, um, um, we need to do this self-verification process. There is no way out to achieve this right understanding without going through each and every and without going through this self-verification tool for each and everything that we are doing. Yes, it's not easy, I would say, but yes, it's not impossible also. Yes, yeah, whatever, yeah, baggage, correct. Different words are used, but yes, they're all pointing to the same reality. Okay, next step in the process of understanding myself is a proposal I'd like to put in front of you.
Sumanji, I just have a question, small question,
Yes, please.
which is related to the same thing. So, if I face any critical issue, I mean, at that moment, I don't have that much time to think over it and, to take an action. So, in that case, in lack of time, so how do we have to? So, a sudden stroke I get, okay, or something happens, some severe thing happens. I don't get that much time to think.
Yeah.
So.
That's okay. I mean, anyway, we'll be doing what we will do. This is not going to change overnight. So it's a gradual process. Getting towards this right understanding is a very gradual process, and it will take time. So in the meantime, anyway, we are not going to sit idle. We are going to live our life. All these dimensions that we said, whether it is myself, my body, society, nature, and family, we are living our life anyway. If we do follow this self-verification and look into whatever assumptions and beliefs are there, and if we start building our right understanding, slowly the number of issues that we have, the number of conflicts, the number of discomforts, the number of disharmony that we have at each of these dimensions will slowly come down. But in the meantime, we are anyway living our lives. We are going to talk to people. It will lead to issues because we are living. There's no escape from doing things, right, in the meantime. So it's a gradual process, but as we go along, so if there is a sudden thing that we need to take decision based on my current understanding, I will anyway take decision. I will do that. Similarly, when I'm behaving with somebody, I will behave based on my current understanding. If there are gaps in my current understanding, it will result into disharmony, right? But at the same time, at least if you're working, so that's the point of this workshop, to initiate this process of right understanding in parallel. So it's like short term versus long term, right? So in the short term, we are going to do what we'll do the patchwork, all that will happen. But in the long term, at least to achieve this right understanding, what are we doing? In fact, you have actually initiated my next topic. So if we have these three things which we are talking about, right?
Yes.
Right understanding and relationships and physical facilities. We have these three things. Let me call them 1, 2, and 3. Which of these is, can you put them in the order of importance? Which is most important, which is next most important, and which is, let's say, third most important? I won't say least important, but all of them are important. We need right understanding. We need relationships. We need physical facilities. Which is the most important? Can you put them in an order of importance? 1, 2, 3. Okay. Some of them are typing. I request everybody to type in the chat window. So if we have these three things that we were talking about, right understanding, relationships, and physical facilities. what is the order of importance? 1, 2 at the same level, followed by 3. Okay. 1, 2, 3. One first. Okay. One first, 2 second. Okay. Same as listed. Okay. So you're all saying that right understanding is the most important thing. So far, that's what we think. And relationships are next most important thing, and physical facilities are next most important thing. Now, the next question, right? If we split our time, the time that we have, that we are spending, where are we spending? And please give the order of in which we spend most of the time. So if we are spending most time on right understanding, it will be 1 on the first. So what are we spending the time most on? Can you give that order? 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. Okay, 3. We're spending most of the time on 3. Okay. Is it 3, 2, 1, everybody? Okay. 1, 2, 3. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 2 second. Okay. So if you see, this is the kind of the issue that we have. So we said that right understanding is most important. So many of you said the order of importance is 1, 2, 3. But order of priority that we are giving, order of time spent, or the amount of importance that we are giving is either 3, 1, 2 or 3, 2, 3, 2, 1 is what most of you said, right? Some of you said other things also like 3, 1, 2, but what most of us said is we are spending most of the time and effort on physical facilities, then relationships come next and right understanding come next. So this itself is the, we can see an issue here, right? Because we are saying this is the most important one, but most of our time goes in this. Time and energy and effort is going into this one, right? So naturally there will be a gap in these two things. There is so we don't have enough time to take care of relationships. We don't have the right understanding to take care of relationships. In fact, if you notice, if we have the right understanding, it leads to right utilization of physical facilities. It leads to right utilization. It leads to mutual prosperity, etc. If we don't have this right understanding, what would it lead to with physical facilities? What would we do? We do accumulation. We do exploitation. We do wastage, right? So order of importance as a child, I'll come to that, sir. So if we have the right understanding, then like for example, take a gadget, for example. If we have the right understanding, we can put our mobile phone to good use, right utilization. Otherwise, if you don't have the right understanding, this for mobile phone that I have will become suddenly outdated within an year, or I feel disrespected with carrying this mobile phone outside. So what will it lead to? It will lead to wastage of resources. It will lead to accumulation. It will lead to exploitation of resources, etc. Right? So if we have the right understanding, even these will improve how we make use of the physical facilities. Similarly, if we have the right understanding, then whatever, for example, the clothes we have, we can put them to right utilization. If we don't have the right understanding, we'll go into accumulation mode, whether it is clothes or shoes or all kinds of things. Wastage of resources will happen. Similarly, in relationships, if we have right understanding, delete this. So if we have the right understanding, then in relationships, it leads to mutual happiness. or mutual comfort. If we don't have right understanding, what does it lead to in relationships? We have seen that in the initial you have given some examples of what happens if we don't have in relationships, if we don't have the right understanding. When we go and start living in relationships, what does it happen? Conflicts, discomfort, unhappiness leads to all these things, right? So that way this becomes the root, or the most important thing. Of course all of them are equally important, there's no denying. But if we have the right understanding, what it leads to is this kind of mutual comfort, harmony, and understanding, respecting each other, etc. If we don't have the right understanding, it leads to conflict, discomfort, unhappiness, debate, war, rebel, etc., etc. in relationships, or revenges, misunderstandings, and all this. Similarly, with physical facilities, if I have the right understanding, it will lead to right utilization and mutual prosperity. Mutual prosperity in the sense, like if I'm having a resource, I have a cloth, I have a shirt or something. If I make the best use of it, I will. That is doing justice towards nature also, right? If I don't rightly utilize my shirt, I use it a couple of times, and I want a new one every time. That means I'm misusing those resources, right? So that way it leads to doesn't lead to mutual prosperity. And also, like if I have the right understanding, I will pick the right materials for my shirt. I may pick a particular type of material over other, which is harmonious for nature. So all this will come from the right understanding. If we don't have this right understanding, we do various things anyway. So all these things will be happening. So let me mark these in red: without right understanding. So this we are calling as the scope of living. So what is my scope of living currently? Is my scope of living limited to physical facilities? Or is my scope of living at a larger level? That is, all these three together am I living, and whether I'm maintaining the balance between all these things that I need as a human being or not. So if I'm living only at physical facilities level, like I'm not thinking anything beyond this, this is called as Jeev Chetana. So it's like animal consciousness. Because like and for animals, it's necessary and sufficient. The scope of living is sufficient, necessary and sufficient. It may, like for example, I need food to eat, I need shelter to live comfortably, and I need whatever nurturing, protection, and some these kind of things with physical facilities. But for a human being, this is not sufficient. This is necessary. The physical facilities are also necessary, but they are not sufficient. The scope of living for a human being is this whole thing. And if we are not living this whole scope, then we are underutilizing our life. This is the full scope of a human being. And this whole transition, if we are living only in this case, most of us may be somewhere in between. It's not like completely we are not living in the physical facilities world, nor this whole thing is fully taken care of. If this transition from here to here, this process itself is education, or development. We do development, we call define development often in terms of number of bridges or buildings, and the development is defined in terms of physical terms. But actually, at least in Jeevan Vidya, development is defined as if I am living in what level of consciousness am I living? Am I living in Jeev Chetna or Manav Chetna? To move from Jeev Chetna to Manav Chetna is defined as development. And what we need is this education or right understanding to move from here to there. So this is also one thing we need to reflect upon. And this is like you mentioned rightly, you mentioned that, okay, in an urgency, in what we are right now, we are anyway doing what we do, various things, right? But jeev, in the sense, this is like animal term. If we really want to be achieve this harmony within myself and happiness and prosperity, then I need to spend time and okay. So we hear that there are so many people who are so rich and so have so many facilities, but there is no sense of satisfaction, etc. Right? Yeah, because the scope for human being is much more. It's not limited to physical facilities, and hence, if unless we use our full potential, we won't reach that point of satisfaction as a human being. So. Any questions on this? I can take one question. We have important topic to get on to before we close today's session. So I can take one question maybe.
Sir, please explain with one example of understanding and right understanding.
So understanding is everything that we have currently. So let's say, for example, my current assumption is something like, let's say somebody, more money means more happiness for me. That's my current assumption. Suppose. So that's my that's my current belief, and I live my life by it. Right? I'm trying to spend most of my time, in earning money and then making use of that money to invest it, to grow it more and more, to all the effort and energy is going into increasing these physical facilities. So the fundamental assumption for that is that money is equal to happiness. That is my current understanding. Suppose, example, I'm saying, if this is the understanding by which I am living, then that is current, that's the understanding. Right understanding is evaluating whether this belief that by which I am living, is it true or wrong. If it is wrong, then what is the right understanding? What will lead to happiness? Is it money that will lead to happiness, or do I need something else? To have that clarity, that is right understanding. So that's the difference between understanding and right understanding.
Clear, sir.
Thank you. Okay, so let's go into the next important topic. So we are in the process of, like, we are in the process of understanding ourselves. So okay, again, all right, I'll again use the paint, so there is some problem. Okay, so in the process of understanding myself, the next important step is to understand human being, and a human being as a coexistence of self and body. Okay, so we try to understand human being at a high level. We said, like, we want to be happy, we want continuity of happiness and prosperity, and then we identified the program. How do we achieve this happiness and prosperity? And then we saw, is our scope of living sufficient to to be a full human being, or are we living in a limited scope? And that, so the next step to understand myself, oh, 1 second. Okay. So the next step is the proposal in front of you is that human being is a coexistence of self and body. Okay, there is something called as a self and there is a body, and these two coexist. And what flows between these two is information. This is a proposal in front of you, and we'll see why, how this is having an effect, or what is the difference between these two, and how these put together become a human being. For example, let's take at the look at the needs aspect of needs. What are the needs of body? Can you please type your inputs in the chat window? What are the needs of body? Pleasure, okay. Physiological needs, food, shelter, health, okay. Comfort, okay. So it's an interesting thing that you're typing. So whether pleasure is a need of the self or is it the need of the body is something we need to look into. Who is enjoying the pleasure? Is it the body which is enjoying the pleasure, or whether the pleasure is being actually enjoyed by the self? Let's observe that. But in the meantime, what is obviously clear is that body needs things like food, clothing, shelter, facilities, etc. Right? So all the physical facilities are required for the body. What are the needs of self? What are the needs of self? Respect, love. Yes. Respect, love, happiness. Yes. So these kind of feelings, emotions, caring, all these are needs of the self. So as we can see, in various aspects, we are going to see that the needs and the various characteristics of these two are completely different between the of self and the body. So the needs wise, we note that feelings like respect, having sense of respect, trust towards other, love, happiness, caring for somebody, all these are the needs of self, or somebody caring for us, that we are being cared for, etc., are the needs of the self. And the needs of body are things like when I'm hungry, I need food. When I'm for comfort, I need clothing. For protection, I need shelter. For using, for talking, etc., I need facilities. For going from one place to other, I need a car, etc., etc. All these are needs of the body, right? Then the next question is, in time, can you tell in time what are these needs of self continuous, or we need for some time only? Like, do we need respect for 1 hour, 2 hours, 1 day, 2 day, or do we need these continuously? Similarly, happiness, do we need it for some time, or 1 day, 2 day happiness, or always, or is it a continuous need or a temporary need? Continuously, we need these needs continuously, right? Where now, yeah, correct. So bodily needs, they are temporal in nature or they are continuous. Like, for example, are you always hungry? Can you eat food all the time? Only when we are hungry, we we make use of the food, right? Similarly, depending on the temperature, my clothing may change from time to time. If I'm in a rain, I may wear a raincoat. If I'm in winter, I may wear a sweater. If I'm in summer, I may wear a different kind of clothing, etc. So these needs are not continuous, so they're temporal or temporary. So based on that particular point of time, the needs kind of change at every time. Similarly, in quantity. So Are these qualitative? Can we say the needs of self are qualitative? Like either I am happy or I am unhappy. I can't say I am like 20% happy or I am like 2 kg happy, or there's no measure for these, right? Whereas these can be measured. Bodily needs can be measured. I need 10 clothes. I need like this much of food. I need so much of shelter. I need a 2-bedroom house. So these can be measured. So these are quantitative. These are just qualitative. So I just feel whether I feel respected, or if I don't have respect, or I have love or I don't have love. I am happy or I am not happy. I may have like, am I like very happy, little happy, or like that, but it is not like we can't measure how much we have, or we just have a feeling whether it's there or it's not there, right? Similarly, the most important aspect is fulfillment. So what will fulfill these needs? What will fulfill the needs of self? Okay, the proposal is right understanding and right feelings. I need these happiness, right? I need happiness. I need a feeling of respect within me. I need a feeling of being cared, etc. So how do I fulfill these needs of the self? By having the right understanding within me and by having the right feelings within me, I can fulfill the needs of self. So this is what the self needs, and for fulfilling the needs of self, I need these things. What do we need to fulfill the needs of the body? Physical facilities like food, clothing, shelter, etc. Okay. Now the important aspect is, so these are the needs. So nurturing, protection, and right utilization is the okay. Nurturing, protection, right utilization, etc. These are the needs of the body. Now the important question is, so what we are the proposal is that these are required to fulfill. So if I have the right understanding, then I can be happy. If I have the right understanding in my relationships with the other, I will have a sense of respect for the other, and I'm comfortable with that. Similarly, if I have the right feeling towards the other, I will be comfortable. If I don't have the right feelings towards the other, I will not be comfortable. Suppose I'm interacting with you. If I don't have trust on you, if I don't have respect towards you, I will feel uncomfortable, right? So what I need in me is right feelings and right understanding. To have these right feelings, we need the right understanding. So ultimately, right understanding is the most important thing to fulfill the needs of the self. Right understanding leads to right feelings, and all these are all required for the self. Physical facilities like food, clothing, shelter, etc. are required for the body to fulfill the bodily needs, right? So now the biggest mistake that is happening is, the biggest mistake that's happening is, can we fulfill the needs of the self with physical facilities? Because that's what we are trying to do most of the time. So we are trying to fulfill the needs of the self with physical facilities. For example, we are trying to wear clothes for respect, for example, or I want the latest gadget for respect. I need the biggest car for respect. I need a big house for respect. I need to do various things in relationships to gain this respect. So what we are trying to do is, or for example, I want to eat something tasty for getting this pleasure to myself, because myself is enjoying the taste of this material, whether it is food or clothing or shelter. So I am enjoying this, so I try to fulfill the I try to provide more and more. For example, I have something which I taste well. I have a rasgulla or a gulab jamun or a samosa or something which I like, or a chocolate, etc. So when I eat it, I'm feeling that pleasure for a brief moment of time. But okay, but the important point that got missed out is we need these continuously. So if we try to fulfill the needs of self with the physical facilities, how many physical facilities do we need? Do we need limited physical facilities or unlimited physical facilities? If we try to fulfill the needs of the self using physical facilities, do we need limited physical facilities or unlimited? Can we ever fulfill the needs of self using the physical facilities? Yes. So the reason why we think we need unlimited physical facilities is because we are trying to fulfill the needs of the self using the physical facilities, and hence we think that we need them in unlimited manner. But if we are actually using the physical facilities to fulfill the need of the body, sorry, if we use the physical facilities to to fulfill the needs of body, then do we need unlimited physical facilities or we need limited physical facilities? If these are only for fulfilling the needs of body, can we define our physical facilities if we use them? So yeah, so the biggest blunder, or the biggest confusion that we have at this point is that by using physical facilities we can fulfill the needs of the self. This is the endeavor that most of us are in, and hence we are not putting enough efforts into building this right understanding, which is the actual way to fulfill the needs of the self. If we figure this out, that okay, physical facilities can only fulfill the needs of the body, and they can provide temporary happiness. For example, when I eat something, I have a pleasure, or something tasty, I'm watching something, I feel good, etc. These are all temporary things, and if I try to combine these temporary things on a continuous basis, then it's not possible, because the self needs these continuously, right? So when we realize that, then our efforts go into using physical facilities for body, and for fulfilling the needs of the self, we start working on the right understanding. So this is a very important part of understanding human being. Right. So you watching Netflix, whether it's a need of a body or whether it's a need of the self, please look into it, because who is enjoying that Netflix? The movie that we are watching, is the body is enjoying, or body is just transferring the information? Whatever movie we are watching, the eyes and the ears and all the senses are just passing on the information to the self. Ultimately, the enjoyment is happening. So the self is the doer. Self is the experiencer or the enjoyer. Self is the one who is enjoying. So yeah, please look at this important difference. Any questions? I can take a question or two, maybe. Please feel free to unmute and ask.
Would you consider mind to be part of the body or a part of the self?
Yeah, please, like, I mean, think about it. Like what? Okay, let's also write what are the activities going on in self. What are the activities? Sorry, wait, these. What are the activities that are going on in self? Maybe you all can type in the chat window. What are the activities that go on in self? Thinking, yes. Thinking, decisions, so desiring, selection, all these kind of things are going on in the self. Whereas what are the activities that are going on in the body? Breathing. Yeah, imagination is in self. Pain, sensations, breathing, heartbeat, chemical reactions, etc. So, for example, how is walking going on? Who is doing the walking? Is body doing the walking by itself, or is self guiding the walk? Self is telling that you go from here to here, move this leg, move that leg. Who is the doer? It's a combination of self and body, right? So body is moving ultimately, but the self is the one who is moving the body. So brain, yes, brain is involved. It's part of the body. It is giving the instructions to the body. So, sir, to your point about mind. So, if you, mind is where all we do all this thinking and desiring and selections, right? So, it is part of self. Somebody else also raised hand. You can please unmute.
Sir, I'm taking the same example, like the person is watching Netflix. It cannot be forever. It is just for a transit time, for a limited time. So
Yes.
it will be a bodily pleasure only. Now, though the happiness is for the mind, for the self, but the purpose is like body is doing everything. So it comes in a bodily, physical facilities. Is it so?
Yeah, we are using physical facilities to satisfy the self when we are watching Netflix or a movie or anything. So we are using our senses. So we are using vision, audio, all these 5 senses that we have: sense, touch, feel, etc. Those are a part of body, right? So we are using the senses to satisfy the need of the self. So that's the reason why we cannot do it continuously. So whatever comes through these senses. So for example, yeah, let me also mention about these different phases that we go through. So when we are trying to fulfill these needs of self through the body, so in the first stage, are you able to see this new screen that I'm sharing?
Yes.
Okay. It looks tasty and necessary. So whether it's a samosa or Netflix or some nice smell, let's say some aroma, or whether it is a touch or some comfort, etc. It looks tasty and necessary in the first. Then we try to do more of it. Let's say I eat more samosas. Then it looks still tasty but unnecessary. So at a point where my stomach is full, I feel okay, this is enough. Then if we do even more, if you are still trying to because it's still feeling tasty, I'll still push more samosas so that myself enjoys. Then the taste changes at this point. The taste is gone, so I'm not even enjoying anymore. And then in the 4th stage, even after that, if we start it becomes unbearable. You take example of anything. Take your favorite song, for example. You're listening to a music, your favorite song. You listen to it once, you enjoy it. You listen to it once in a while, like once in a week or once in a month. Whenever you listen to this, we feel happy, or we feel that for those 5 minutes we feel good. In ourself, we feel good through this audio input, right? Then what we do, we try to do more of it. Suppose I put it in a loop. It's my favorite song. I'm enjoying it. I'll try to put it in loop. After some time, you can't. You don't feel like enjoying it anymore. You're not enjoying it anymore. And even after this, you start hearing this. it becomes unbearable. You just kind of want to run away. This happens, for example, for people who practice dance. So you're running that song in a loop hundreds of times when you're doing dance practice. So after a point, after that show, that performance is over, you just don't want to listen to that song for some time, after for a few days or few months again. It becomes so unbearable that whatever was tasty at some point becomes unbearable also. This happens especially when we are trying to entertain ourselves through sensations, through physical facilities.
So hence we should do it limited. That's the key point. Well, we have to do something for entertaining, for getting bodily pleasure. So it is a natural need.
Whether it is natural or not, yeah, that's something to be reflected upon, because that's what we are saying. So what we are doing is this combination. So morning I'll get up, I'll have a nice breakfast, then I'll watch one movie, then and I'll have a nice lunch, then I'll wear nice clothes, I'll feel good again, then I'll go out, then I will do something else. So we are trying to satisfy the needs of the self as a combination of these pleasures from the physical facilities. That's what creativity we are using, because same thing repeatedly we are not able to do. We try combinations. Okay, I'll do first food, I'll eat the taste part, then I'll do visual sensation enjoyment, then I will do some other touch related enjoyment, then I'll do some other entertainment, smell related entertainment, etc., etc. So it's we'll get tired at one point. Either we'll get tired, we'll get dissatisfied, because otherwise people who have these lot of physical facilities could have become happy, right? All if they're smart as a combination of these physical facilities, they can try to entertain the self in a continuous manner. It will not be possible. At some point it becomes unbearable to entertain the self just through physical facilities. We need the right feelings within the self, and for that, right understanding is a permanent way. So in a continuous manner, if we want this to have the right understanding within me and to have that state within me, this right understanding, what is it ensuring? It is ensuring a state within me which is in harmony, in synergy, and this state can be maintained as a continuity. And then I will make right use of the physical facilities. The right placement for physical facilities is to nurture my body, protect my body, and rightly utilize my body. In the process, as as a transition till this becomes absolute, like right understanding becoming my complete source of happiness, because I need a full right understanding to achieve that state, right? In the meantime, of course, we will be using physical facilities. This input will be there, but how much of is the dependency on physical facilities is the question. We see people having 1,000 pairs of shoes. They could not, imagine having 1,000 pairs of shoes. We hear people, right, they have 1,000 pairs of dresses, or they're moving from one place to other, they're taking all these in planes, etc. So why would that happen? That would happen only when we are trying to do this fulfillment of the needs of the self using physical facilities. So if I want respect is a need in myself, and if I try to achieve it through physical facilities, I need to change my dress every day, I need to change my shoes every day, I need to be trendy every day. Or if even after all that, whether I'm getting just attention or is it really a feeling of respect, that's under question.
So the right understanding is the key point.
Yes, so the right understanding is the right way to fulfill the needs of the self, and physical facilities are actually meant for fulfilling the needs of the body, is the proposal here. So we all can reflect upon that. So with that, sorry.
One question.
Yeah,
so fulfilling the requirements of others through physical facilities, that is the example. Good
point. So when it comes to others, so that's about relationships. So let's have in tomorrow's session we'll be starting on that. So what is a relationship, what are the feelings in a relationship, and for how many feelings do we need physical facilities, and for how many feelings we don't need physical facilities, we will look into that, right?
Okay, one more thing is So right understanding towards the wrong people. So should we have to have the right understanding towards the wrong people, or how do we have to deal such kind of people?
Yeah,
So
so right understanding is not towards people. Right understanding is an understanding about relationship. So there are me and that a person, another human being, and there is a relationship. Now, how do I understand this relationship? Whether it's that person, some other person, or XYZ. Now, how do I understand this human to human relationship, and what kind of understanding about the relationship can lead to this happiness within me, lead to this harmony within me? That is the right understanding. Now, once I have the right understanding, different types of people, I will, I will learn to respond to different types of people in different types of ways. But the first thing is to understand relationship at its core. What is a human relationship? What are the feelings in a human relationship? How can I have these feelings towards people in that I'm interacting with? That is the core of relationship. That if I understand, then I can first of all have these feelings towards, whether I can have these feelings towards good people, or people of my frequency, the so-called, people of my frequency I'm calling good people. Let's say people of not my frequency I'm calling bad people. So can I have these feelings towards everybody, or can I have these feelings only towards a few people? That's something we'll see in the next couple of days. So we explored the module of like understanding myself, right? So the next step, body also we have seen to some extent, right? So me as a coexistence of self and body we have seen. So the next step is to understand relationships in a family. That means relationships. So when we come to this topic, we'll see what is a relationship. First, let's understand the core of what is a relationship. Then different types of people, whether I can have these feelings or not have these feelings. We'll see all these things in the understanding of the relationships. Okay, so that's I think the time is also up. Thank you so much for your participation again in today's session, and see you all in the evening. We may give a couple of reflection activities just like yesterday, so kindly spend some time on that. And in the evening we'll take questions on the self and body, and whatever so far whatever questions you have, we'll we'll have a more interactive session in the evening. And then we'll continue the rest of the dimensions as we go along in the workshop. Okay, so thank you so much. See you all in the evening session.
Thank you.